There's a lot of gray in Myrtle Beach's past, present, and future. Find out what it's all about. Coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the coastal South Carolina chapter of the American Red Cross on Pampas Drive in Myrtle Beach near the soon-to-open Market Common on the former Myrtle Beach Air Force Base. We're focused on the Market Common and lots of activities in the city of Myrtle Beach. We're visiting with the Honorable Wayne Gray, a Myrtle Beach City Council member. Good morning, Wayne.
Good morning, Greg.
Thank you so much for coming in early on a Thursday morning.
Thank you for the invitation. Just dropped my two youngest kids off at school. They're at Myrtle Beach Intermediate and Myrtle Beach Primary, and worked my way down here, and it's great to see all the work that's happening here at Market Common.
It is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's just so incredible to think about all the residents out at Seagate Village.
Sure.
These 800 homes out here, as they've been driving in and just seeing some of this construction underway, and now to see it coming near fruition. I guess April, is it?
It's exciting. April 08 has been the announced month, for lack of better words, that McCaffrey Interest, which is the primary developer of Market Common, over 1 million square feet of retail and commercial space in what was the core area of the former Air Force Base. And they've got a number of tenants that are nationally recognized, and we're excited. And that was a great partnership between the city of Myrtle Beach, the Myrtle Beach Air Base Redevelopment Authority, which was managing the redevelopment of the closed air base over the last 10, 12 years, and of course the developer McCaffrey Interest in really what was Jack Walker, who is the Director of Planning for the City of Myrtle Beach, envisioned an urban village, which became a new wave 15 years ago in urban planning, and worked from scratch this product out here. And there were many naysayers, including a number of city council members over the years, but we held to the plan, found the right developer, partnered with that developer in issuing a tax increment financing district, which helps fund a lot of the public infrastructure.
Right.
And now we have the developers of Withers Preserve, which is Rob O'Neill out of New York, and then of course Lennar Homes, and then the commercial interest is McCaffrey, and intermingled in that is all of the recreational property that's available from the city of Myrtle Beach. So this is going to really change the dynamic of Myrtle Beach, particularly on the south end of the district, and we're excited about the partnership that's taking place here.
There's nothing like it. It's amazing. It is very exciting.
Very
of course,
exciting.
you highlighted a lot of the national names. We think about a lot of those, but a lot of big local folks have said, we're going to make this home. I was
Absolutely.
talking to a gal last week who works with Jack Devine in here, and he's opened 3 locations in there in the next 5 months. I mean, to think about a real local impact, a lot of folks recognize that this is going to be special with both nationals and local tenants alike.
And I think that was a component that McCaffrey, and of course, you know, Buddy Stires, who is a native of Myrtle Beach, has been the executive director of the Redevelopment Authority and now does work for McCaffrey Interest, felt like it was important that there be a local component. So they reached out to local retail tenants, and of course Jack Devine with the Devine Dining Group, and I believe that others will follow.
Many of them.
So it is going to be a phenomenal asset for the city of Myrtle Beach and the Grand Strand, and we're excited about it opening in April of 08.
Absolutely, Wayne. Well, last time we were together, we were here in the Herald studio, at that time housed there with Fox 43. And of course, the exciting time when we were together was you were ascending to the chairmanship of the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce. That has come and gone, but you've remained very active with the Chamber. A lot going on at the Chamber of Commerce right now.
A lot going on, and let me first say that, Greg, one of the things that the Chamber does annually is its members recommend, and there's a selection of a Citizen of the Year, and you were named that Citizen of the Year, and I want to offer my congratulations, and it couldn't, you know, no one else is more well-deserved of that award. But
that means a lot. Of course, the Jackson's honored as the Pioneers of the Year.
Jackson's honored as the Pioneers.
Absolutely.
But the Chamber, led by Brad Dean, the President and CEO, I had a phenomenal opportunity to work with him when I served on the board and as chairman, and so many components that they're working in the community, and Brad is doing a phenomenal job. Very much appreciative of my opportunity to serve. And of course, being on City Council, I still work very closely with the Chamber in terms of promoting our tourist destination, promoting economic opportunities. They've worked well with Market Commons. And then, of course, the Chamber has taken on the lead role, if you will, as the host organization to host what we think is a phenomenal opportunity for our community, which is hosting both the Republican and Democratic presidential debates in January of 2008.
Oh, yeah. One's less than a month away. The one on January 10th.
January 10th is the Republican debate, which is actually owned by the South Carolina Republican Party.
Right.
But the chamber, through working with our local delegation,
yes,
and working, of course, with Caton Dawson, the chairman of the South Carolina Republican Party, felt like that Myrtle Beach was the place that event needed to be held. We have the convention center. We obviously have the accommodations. Myrtle Beach clearly is what many describe as the cash cow for South Carolina because of tourism being the #1 economy. And we think it's a wonderful opportunity to bring those individuals that are going to be a part of that debate, the media, those that follow the campaigns, those that volunteer on the campaigns, of course the candidates themselves. But what a great opportunity to expose Myrtle Beach to the world.
Oh, absolutely.
Between these both opportunities. And the Chamber has a great organization that is put in place to help sponsor these events.
And January 21st, a big day for the city, a big day for this nation, and
no question,
a big day. Share with viewers the significance of January 21st.
Well, as you know, January 21st is Martin Luther King Day.
Right.
This will be the first year that the city of Myrtle Beach, and I have to say led by an effort by Councilman Michael Chestnut, to honor Martin Luther King by providing a day off for all of the employees of the city of Myrtle Beach. But that is also the debate that the day that the Congressional Black Caucus Institute, which is a division of the CBC, which owns the Democratic debate, will house that debate in Myrtle Beach. It'll be at the Palace Theater.
Right.
And Greg, frankly, without the help of Congressman Clyburn, who has been a very good friend of the Grand Strand for the many years that he's represented that district in the state, we would not be hosting that debate. But a great opportunity to have that debate here. We've told Congressman Clyburn, this is your opportunity to showcase South Carolina and Myrtle Beach and the Grand Strand to the world. And a number of opportunities that are going to be planned around that weekend. There's things that will be happening at Coastal Carolina College where we'll have a youth day where Congressman Clyburn is bringing in nationally renowned speakers to talk about encouraging youth to get involved and serve. And you know, Valerie Hensley, who you know very well, who is the executive director of Step Up, is managing all of the volunteers for these two debates.
Right.
And one of the things that she says is interesting, that in the service community, if you will, throughout the nation, that is an interesting take on Martin Luther King Day, is instead of a day off, meaning, yeah, I may not be employed that day for my employee, but let's have a day on. That day on of giving to our community through service work, whatever that may be. And that very much is the spirit of who I believe Martin Luther King was, which is serving humanity, serving people. And so many people that day will be volunteering their time. But it's going to be a great January for Myrtle Beach.
Absolutely. And a great way to honor Dr. King. And I'm so glad you mentioned Valerie Hensley. I think it was just last week Valerie got back from a week down in New Orleans. She was with our producer's husband, with Todd and Howard Barner and many other folks down there. And I think it was last week or the week before, 2 years ago, you'd been down there. Share with viewers what that was like.
I did.
And just what prompted that.
Thank you, Greg. Well, that was 90 days after Hurricane Katrina, and Howard Barnard, who is a member of First Presbyterian Church, where I'm a member and my Sunday school teacher, was basically the mission leader of the church at the time. And this was the first group that we organized to work with the St. Charles Avenue Presbyterian Church, which is sponsoring Team Rhino, Restoring Hope in New Orleans. And at that time, churches from across the country, civic groups from across the country would come into New Orleans, stay in dormitory-style housing in a house behind this church, and go out into the community. And at that time, we were pretty much basically just mucking out houses that had been flooded and had been damaged. A great week, an experience for me. At the time, it was, as you said, it was December the 3rd through the 10th, I believe. I'm not sure what really led or called me to go to that event that week, but had spent my honeymoon in New Orleans. And then my wife and I had an opportunity to spend our 10-year anniversary there attending the Final Four. Wow. I'm a great basketball fan, so she divulged with me, and I said, we'll get to go back to New Orleans, but you have to go to the Final Four. Anyway, so this was my third trip back to New Orleans, and had a great opportunity. And I just had a chance to tour the Ninth Ward, which, of course, at that time there was really no work, and really see the devastation. But thanks to people like the St. Avenue Presbyterian Church and people like Todd Harms and Howard Barnard, who continue to go they are restoring hope in New Orleans, and I'm thankful for the people that have been back, and I'll get an opportunity to go back again.
Absolutely. You shared a connection. There was an Orangeburg connection as well, which is real special.
The pastor at St. Charles Presbyterian Church is originally from Orangeburg, South Carolina,
right.
And his older brother was a childhood friend of Bobby Wilkes, who was the pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Myrtle Beach, and of course, their pastor was the pastor in New Orleans. His father was the pastor of the church that Bobby was involved in Orangeburg. So just a great connection there.
I love it.
Which certainly led to our group. And I think through Howard Barnard's leadership, we normally are now having 2, possibly 3 groups going during. We do a fall retreat, like in December, I should say, most of winter, and then a spring one. So we've had at least, this will probably be the 6th or 7th group that's been there since that first group went back in just following Hurricane Katrina.
And the Rhino name, Restoring Hope in New Orleans. That is fantastic. What a commitment. And of course, if viewers are interested in learning more about that, they can call the church, the 448-4496.
448-4496.
Right.
Of course, they could go to the website, which escapes me right now, but I think it's Myrtle Beach Presbyterian Church.org. And then there is a link where those, Allison Harden, who works for the city of Myrtle Beach in the planning department, was one that attended the trip with me, created a website, and they continue, I believe, to use that one where pictures are uploaded while they're down there. You could go and see the pictures as work is actually occurring, and that stuff's been added to, and I think Todd Harms is doing the same thing this week, last week. So a great opportunity for people to see the work that's being done there.
Well, I'm glad you used a website again, MyrtleBeachPresbyterianChurch.org. That's a good opportunity to plug StepUp-GrandStrand.org for folks who are interested in doing that day on that you talked about.
That's right.
Instead of the day off for January 21st, but also January 10th. They're great needs for the Republican event, which will be at, I believe, the convention.
That will be held at the convention center. That debate that Thursday, and the great thing about it, those will be the last televised debates prior to the primary elections
in South Carolina.
Yeah, well, nationally.
Oh, nationally.
They will be the last time that somebody who hasn't made a choice will be able to watch TV and listen and learn and observe those candidates and their views and opportunities. And in Myrtle Beach, and the city of Myrtle Beach is participating, obviously providing the infrastructure, providing police protection. We've made a financial contribution to the Chamber of Commerce to help host these activities. But when and the Republican debate is being held on Fox, the Democratic debate is being held on CNN. And you can't put a measure on when Brit Hume or Wolf Blitzer look at that television and say, live from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, the whatever debate, and plus all the other opportunity we'll get to leverage the world-class place that Myrtle Beach is.
I love it.
Yeah,
I almost get chills.
I get goosebumps.
Sure,
it is extremely exciting, and there are so many people that have played a large effort and will continue to play, and there are too many to thank, but it will greatly be a community effort.
Absolutely. So many other big things happen in the city of Myrtle Beach, and of course, as we think about the airport, which is housed in the city, but I believe owned by the county. The Downtown Redevelopment Corporation, a lot happening there, and a lot of stuff we hear about. Obviously, Doug Shaw Stadium, for folks who are familiar with the activities there, another good partnership, I believe, with the Horry County School Board. Share with viewers, we got about 7 or 8 minutes, Wayne, just a little bit about what's happening with those 3 bodies, either one of them in your order.
Well, I'll go in that order. I'll save Doug Shaw to the last because that's a favorite one of mine. But first, the airport. I mean, clearly there's been a little bit of frustration between the 2 political bodies. The structure is such that, as you already described, the county managing an economic asset, a public facility within the city limits of Myrtle Beach, and each of us have our different thought processes, what should be the future. But I believe, Greg, there's an immediate short-term need, and then there's a long-term need. And I think the county is working hard and will work with the city on how do we improve, expand, and make more efficient our air service in the short term. Some of us have thought, and that is expanding the East Side Terminal, continuing to expand Harrelson Boulevard to Kings Highway to provide the ingress and egress to serve that expanded terminal. We believe that's going to serve the next 20 to 30 years. The real question is, as we continue to grow, which we are, at a phenomenal rate beyond what we've had the last 20 or 30 years. I mean, believe it or not, most of those baby boomers in the North and Northeast and Midwest, they're just learning of Horry County and Myrtle Beach. this is some of the last developable property along the East Coast. And the demographers tell you everybody's moving to the southeast where it's warmer climate and they want to get next to the water, the Atlantic Ocean. So the real question is 25 to 50 years out, where is that service going to be? And I think the city planners and fathers have felt like at this location we want to continue to have a thriving air service, but it's probably not going to be able to serve those needs in 25 to 50 years, that there may be that alternative location. And of course, NESA, the Northeastern Strategic Alliance, is studying a regional airport that will serve the whole region. And I think that that's going to be where we need to look at the long term. We're going to work through the challenges and find a short-term solution. And I'm thankful that the county council and the city will get together and do that. In fact, we are. So I see a short-term need and then a long-term need. And we've got to get on the same page, and that will happen. If you will, let me turn to downtown redevelopment. That section between Joe White Avenue and 7th Avenue, which was centered and anchored by the Pavilion, which no longer exists, is the last strip of oceanfront land in the city of Myrtle Beach that could still remain a retail and commercial component and not just be developed with high-rise hotels. And I think that's what many of us want. There's a unique feature there that in itself was but can become a destination, much like Market Commons, much like the new theme park, much like Broadway at the beach. So it's a matter of getting together and building the proper infrastructure, whether that be changing some of the road network, continuing with the aesthetic improvements, underground wiring. But many of the property owners and retailers in that area believe that a boardwalk will be that iconic symbol that investment is being made, and this becomes, again, a unique destination in itself where people can enjoy whatever will eventually be developed at the Pavilion and the other activity there, and then stay in the general area and walk. So it's really a question of, do we want it to remain or stay a revived retail, entertainment, commercial core in that area? And I think that's what our leaders and fathers want. So it's a matter of prioritizing that and then making investment.
Right.
So
absolutely,
we will do that.
And again, if a viewer wants to learn more about that, if they need to get off to school now or get family off to school or get off to work, they can visit citymyrtlebeach.com.
They can visit, yes, citymyrtlebeach.com. The Downtown Redevelopment Corporation has its own website, which is linked to that. David Seebach is the executive director, 918-1065, I know his number directly, to learn about what are some of the investment plans that are being made there. And of course, we will work with Burroughs and Chapin, which owns 11 acres right in the center of that, to develop that. And I know we're running short a little bit of time.
Actually, we got a little more, about 7 minutes.
Let me share really a project that is close to my heart for a variety of reasons. I've worked individually and collectively on this project, and it's been a great collaborative partnership. But Doug Shaw Memorial Stadium, actually it was Memorial Stadium in 1968, where Archie Dargan and Hazel Hatchell and Don Cameron led an effort to build a new stadium that would serve our community, but predominantly be used as the football/soccer field for Myrtle Beach High School.
Right.
Incidentally, in 1967, when the school was located at Kmart Plaza at that time, which is around 16th Avenue and Oak, the stadium collapsed.
No.
And so there was a community effort to raise money, build it where it currently is, which is on city-owned land. And since then, the city has maintained the facility and predominantly provided it free of charge for school athletic purposes, with limited city use and limited public use.
Right.
The facility needs to be upgraded, and as we were approaching that plan, many came about. Well, do we just deed it to the school district because the city doesn't have a football or a soccer team?
Right.
And I thought that no, I think what we should do is let's work with the school district. It's the public's facility. If they need to upgrade it, they're going to spend more money than they need to upgrade it. And why don't we work together, find out what everybody would like to see, and collaborate on the improvements. And what we've come up with, I think, is a great intergovernmental agreement where we're going to collectively spend between $3.5 to $4 million between the city and the school district to upgrade the home side facilities, upgrade the visiting seating capacity, the lighting, other improvements that need to be made that are typically what we would call district standards that they want to provide for each of their schools. What the city wanted out of it is, well, we want to get greater use for our recreational activities.
Sure.
We'd like to get greater use maybe for some tourism initiatives. And what we'd like to do is invest some money. And instead of having a natural grass turf, we'll have what's called field turf, which is the newest and brightest turf that you have at Cal Ripken,
right,
where it feels and plays like natural turf.
Oh, yeah.
So you get, but you don't have to cut it. You don't have to water it. You can paint the stripes. You could play a football game, turn around and play a soccer game, turn around and play a lacrosse game, and then be ready tomorrow and play again. And so you don't have the damage. So we're going to invest the money to upgrade the facility. In addition to that, we're investing the money to upgrade the track standards.
Right.
It'll be a new 8-lane rubberized track, which is the new state-of-the-art track. It'll have all of the components that it could host an NCAA event.
Is that right?
And so
wow,
we think that that will be an opportunity not only to have a Class A facility for Myrtle Beach High School
right,
and its athletic competition, but an opportunity for, when it's not being used for that, our recreational activity. We think that our citizens will get greater use out of walking and jogging on the new track. And then we'll have an opportunity to host track events. We're already working with Coastal Carolina University. As you know, they have a great track program.
Oh, absolutely.
They have an event every spring called the Shamrock Invitational. Most of those teams that come down are staying on the waterfront.
Right.
So we can host the event here instead of being always out at Coastal. Somebody that was very close to me in my life was Doug Shaw, who was the head football coach at Myrtle Beach High School for 25 years. I had an opportunity.
For him.
I did. I had an opportunity to play for him for 3 years. I was on 2 teams that won 2 state championships.
Oh, come on!
And
I
played basketball too. We had
a
great team. I played quarterback for those 3 years. So there's always that relationship between the quarterback and the coach. And trust me, it was like many. Sometimes it was good, and sometimes it was bad. But Doug and his family, Cecilia and his son Doug Jr. and Gina, his daughter, have meant a great deal to me and my family.
Right.
And it was very much with a reward and a passion that we're able to continue to honor what he meant to this community by upgrading this facility. And I know that his family's proud of that, that our teams will have an opportunity to play in a first-class facility. And I need to thank Eddie Rodersberger from the Horry County School District and John Peterson and Ron Andrews, our 2 assistant city managers, who primarily were the ones behind the scenes working out the agreements while the politicians over here were taking all the credit but doing much more arguing than they were work. So, but it's been a great collaborative effort.
2 other great names, Pepper Gettings. You spent a lot of time, I know you, Wayne, and a lot of other folks, a lot of volunteers to make sure that was upfitted properly. A separate subject, of course, Buddy Rogers, another special name to you and your family for many, many reasons. We actually have a couple minutes to share with viewers the significance of those 2 men and what they've done in this community.
Well, Pepper, I did not know Pepper personally, but he played football, basketball, and baseball, and unfortunately his life was taken at an early age. But Pepper, from what I know of him and what I've read from him and heard from people, epitomized hard work, dedication, wasn't the most athletic, wasn't the smartest, but was the first one on the field and the last one to leave. And was a great character, a great person. And so after his death, the leaders at that time sought the opportunity to award him by naming that facility Pepper Gettings. And of course, I was on council when we went through the bond referendum to renovate and expand that facility, certainly as well as Canal Street, and we're now making some improvements out here at Market Common.
Absolutely, Crabtree.
At Crabtree. But Pepper epitomized what we want to teach and promote in our youth athletics. And then, of course, Buddy Rogers, who passed away. Buddy is my uncle, was my mom's older brother, and probably where I got my athletic enthusiasm from. And but Buddy coached about every sport that you can coach.
Right?
Basketball at Myrtle Beach and Soxtee before that, and before that at Coastal Academy, which was a private school here in the 70s and 80s in Myrtle Beach, and played at Myrtle Beach and played at Marshall and University. But more than coaching and teaching, Buddy was about teaching young men and women to become adults and become productive citizens in life. And he's missed. Excuse me for getting a little emotional, but is missed by our family, and I know missed by a lot of people.
You've got some other special uncles and relatives to segue off. Of course, Bob, your uncle, who was with us a block away at Horry Georgetown Tech, where your grandfather had made such a dramatic impact, where your dad now continues to make a big impact on Horry Georgetown Tech. You've had some amazing relatives, as of course we read about either you or your dad or Bob. It goes back to the Gray family here since the 1700s.
Yeah.
Not 1800s, but 1700s.
Well, and that descends to the Todd family, which, you know, we're living over off in what we call the Hand community in Highway 90. And my great-great-grandmother and husband migrated over here in the 1800s. And whether they served their church, they served the community in elective office, or in volunteer through Horry Georgetown Technical College or through the Shriners or whatever, I think that's where I've learned my desire and willingness to give back to our community. This place has been phenomenal to my family that dates back a long way, and there's been many family members that have served and continue to serve this community.
I love it. Wayne, thanks so much
Greg,
for being
thank
with
you.
us this morning.
My pleasure.
Stay tuned to more Carolina People with the Honorable Wayne Gray coming up next. This guy's middle initial should be S. S is in service. You know, we could have talked about his basketball scholarship to Presbyterian. Instead, he wants to talk about Doug Shaw Stadium and all the activities going on in the city. We could have talked about being a vice president of Tidelands Bank. What's he want to do? Talk about devastation in New Orleans. We obviously could have focused on his 4 family-owned and operated family restaurants, locally owned and operated Springhouse. Instead, he keeps coming back to focus on the issues of importance here in the city. CityOfMyrtleBeach.com. Presidential debates coming up right around the corner. Of course, we're focused on Christmas right now and all the celebration. He's dropping off his kids at school, rushing over here to be at the Red Cross, thinking about the Market Common. A lot going on in the city. Think about him. Think about all your elected officials and so many volunteers that we need in the month of January to support these tremendous presidential debates. Coming up soon.